Hey, welcome to Booked, where two guys talk about holidays. I'm Olivia Snedden.
And I'm Rob Olson. As for people who've been watching the podcast, listening to the podcast for a while, you'll know that every now and then we take a holiday and use it as an excuse to get together and show you our faces instead of just making you listen to our voices. And back when we did our... What was the last holiday we did? Was it Christmas?
Yes.
No, yeah.
Office party?
Yeah. We decided that the Ides of March was going to be our next holiday. Do you remember that? And then we betrayed
I remember
that.
there being some discussion around that. Yep.
Yeah.
Those fuckers will stab you in the back, though. So
Correct.
We betrayed that plan. And we decided that it would be better, as you can see from the little title card that we have going on right now in the video. This is our St. Patrick's Day special, and I want to point out, we all understand that March 9th is not St. Patrick's Day. This is when we could get together. So welcome to the first ever St. Patrick's Day booked holiday special. Pretty excited about
that's a great banner, guys. I dig that.
You like that?
And since we're talking about the advertising of it, I believe there was a flyer that was created for this particular episode.
Yeah, so
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So there have been some accusations out there. So for those of you that didn't see it, there's a picture of me dressed as a leprechaun standing by the Chicago River during St. Patrick's Day when the river was green. So we knew a year ago this was going to happen. I actually got dressed up and I went out there and did that. And some people really questioned. So they claimed that was a fake photo. Rob's showing it on the screen now. If you're listening to this later, this is why you want to see the live event on Facebook. So just to prove that it wasn't, I have part of the outfit.
Oh, you have the hat?
Yeah.
It's a good color on you, gotta say.
So there it is. For anybody, for the non-believers, this actually was something we've been planning for a long time. And I have the hat to prove it. I'm probably only going to wear it for a little bit because it makes it hard to wear these headphones. But yeah. So, Misty, I like your hat. It's cute. I mean, it's a little on the small side, but it is adorable. So
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well,
I appreciate your approval.
I wonder how much of this is cultural appropriation.
100%.
How dare you?
I'm wondering.
Did you originally buy that hat for your brand new puppy?
As a matter of fact, I did not.
Small hat.
Although that's a great idea, and it might be hers later. No, I bought it for a St. Patrick's Day run maybe 2 years ago. So I actually ran with this on my head. 5K.
Now,
Picking up on something here. There's I feel like I'm left out of something.
Headwear?
I don't think anyone in the world spends time wondering why doesn't Jesse wear hats?
I think with a head of hair like that, why would you?
We all know.
Why would you?
Yeah.
Hats don't work on him.
Yeah.
And headphones might make it tricky, but...
Uh-oh, here we go.
What?
What is this? Can you...
I am representing Booked, patreon.com/booked, and since it's St. Patty's Day, whiskey, water of life, all that, Bar and Tender bourbon made here in Minneapolis.
There you go.
Get out of here.
This episode has many sponsors, Bar and Tender, one of them. If you're in the Minneapolis area, stop in, Bar and Tender, and get yourself a whiskey.
Wow, who knew that Jesse would be the fucking sellout?
Whoa.
Rob, we have other sponsors. I just haven't told you about them. Some of them might come out during the course of the episode. We'll see. So
okay. Well, for now, I think that before we get into any actual St. Patrick's Day talk, in the American tradition, we're just going to make it about what we think it's about, right? And so I'm going to tell you guys how I'm starting off drinking for this episode. Starting off, just one drink of 15-year aged Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey. What do you think of that?
Fuck.
Chef's kiss.
Yes.
This was a gift from my brother, I think a year and a half ago, something like that. And I have already opened it, but I haven't been drinking it much because I'm a bourbon dude. But here we go. We're going to do a little pour of Irish whiskey to kick off St. Patrick's Day.
Love it.
You guys want to share what you're up to, Livius?
I, also in a St. Patrick's Day tradition, found something with green on it to drink, and that is a Monster Energy. For a couple of reasons. I was feeling a little, I don't want to say down earlier, but just not as social as I normally, as everyone knows, I'm normally a very social guy. So I am drinking that, and when that's done, I will be drinking this right here, special. You can see it's in a bottle.
Also green?
Yeah, also green. Perrier strawberry water.
Oh.
Yeah. So there will be some of that,
that's like
too.
French shit and whatnot.
That's right. Yeah, I have to work early in the morning. I was going to join you guys for a drink, but I do have to work. And not only that, I have like a work meeting where I have to present for like 90 minutes. So, Yeah, on a Sunday, early in the morning. It is. But let's kick it off to Jesse. Jesse, what's on your drinking menu for the evening?
This is going to take some time here. All right.
Is it bar and tender whiskey? Is that what you're...
No, not tonight. First thing is this local beer I poured that's a red ale with cherries added. I wasn't too nuts about it, but I didn't hate it, so I didn't pour it out. I'm holding on to that, just in cases. I have also local, famous Grainbelt Brewery premium beer here. I've got some Angostura Amaro.
Fancy time.
Wow, this guy. Fucking delightful.
This guy.
I also have some motherfucking Irish whiskey.
Dude! Samesies.
Not the fancy version Rob has.
You're not 15.
Hey, I don't want to
aged.
interrupt, but which one of you has a cousin named Austin? Oh.
Austin wants to know where's
Austin
your
would
drink.
like to know, where's your drink, Misty?
Ooh, hey.
Oh, I'm next. Wait,
Yeah.
Jesse, did you finish your whole...
I hope so. He had like
He's like,
three different things.
I know.
Other than water, yes, that's the alcohol.
Okay.
Jesus God.
Well, I'm going to be super lame like Livius. No, not really. I did, though. I drank earlier today for, a couple of hours. And so it's just vodka Red Bull right now to get me started, but I might change to Bullet Rye after that.
That green straw, though.
Green
I've
straw.
only
I
ever
think it's green straw.
I've only ever seen vodka and Red Bull in like a shot. Where they
Listen.
How do you drink that from a glass?
Listen, it's not good.
It's pretty
Okay.
common.
It is very
Really?
common. It's a Paris Hilton, which I'm ashamed, but it gives me the caffeine that I need to level out.
Hey, while we're on the subject of drinking, so I have publicly challenged Rob with my concern for the fact that he might drink a little too much. And if you guys, I think he knows what I just saw. Rob, would you move slightly to whichever way that... If you look over Rob's shoulder... Now, for people who aren't figuring this out, that's Rob's nightstand.
No, that's mine. He's just holding onto it for me.
That is on... Rob.
Oh, they're all empty now.
Well,
So,
yeah, now you're empty.
I have no. If you looked in my refrigerator, it is mostly alcoholic beverages, and then one of my lower cabinets is also full of alcohol. It doesn't mean you're drinking it all on a regular basis.
Misty,
You
it's
just
on his
have it.
fucking nightstand.
Well,
That's
I mean,
within reaching distance when he's in bed. Like
he
wakes
has
up,
a
it's like
storage
midnight.
capacity issue. I don't
Well,
know why.
where do you keep your vape machines? I mean,
Well, yeah,
Are they machines?
Vape.
I mean,
Yeah, where do you keep your
Like his
vaporizers?
briefcase.
Yeah.
His
Are you using that
briefcase.
Vapo Rub too?
I guess my concern is that like I just had this vision of Rob waking up. It's 3 a.m. He just reaches over, gets a drink, sets it back down on the nightstand first thing in the morning. Just worried about you, brother. Christina O'Connell says, "Great hats all around." Thanks.
Thanks, Christina.
I mean, except for Rob. That's Rob's everyday hat.
That is one of Rob's.
and here,
Nice
I mean,
hat.
obviously just being too kind because hats.
I like it, except that
kinda
you
cute.
look like 12 years old.
Yeah, you do look 12 years old. You look like
Yeah.
you look like you're about to launch a new startup.
Oh my gosh, you could totally work at Facebook right now.
Livius kind of looks like a pimp on his day off.
This looks like a pimp.
I was going to say that's his everyday look.
The vaping pimp.
All right, now that we got introductions and alcohol talk out of the way for now with this group.
Hang on. For when the Irish whiskey is done.
Betty O'Bills.
18th Street Brewery. I'm drinking a Pilsner, but it's a green can.
That it is.
Try that shit.
So
that is. Where are we starting off, Rob? You're the commandeer on this episode. Where are we going first?
Is commandeer the appropriate? I thought that's when you take something over.
Commander?
I normally do it, right? So
yeah. Well,
it's on you.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're using a word that doesn't exist. So everything.
No.
Day off, pimp ass.
You're the commander of this video cast.
Mediator, moderator is usually the word I like to use, but whatever. Cheers. So I think that no. Misty just straight up shook her head no.
Den mother.
No, I just, I felt bad that Livius was getting judged so harshly so soon on a word use.
All right, I'll change my tune. I apologize. Livius, I love you. I thought maybe we could just jump right into the homework that we did. So for the people who haven't paid attention much to our holiday episodes in the past, we always do homework, and the homework consists of reading something or watching something, and then we discuss it kind of like a review, but way, way more relaxed. And because St. Patrick's Day, Irish, all that kind of stuff, we decided to go super authentic, super real, look at history and all that kind of stuff, not go surface level bullshit.
Watch a documentary.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so naturally, we went with a movie that got released about almost exactly 20 years ago, The Boondock Saints.
Was it 20? I actually was thinking about that today. I didn't look
99.
it up. What year?
It was 99. And then Boondock Saints 2 came out in 2009. So if you're doing the math on this, 2019 would be the appropriate year for a third Boondock Saints movie if Troy Duffy.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I really don't think that's going to happen either. I don't think Troy Duffy's going to have got a third movie in him, much less a Boondock Saints movie.
I hope Troy Duffy invested his money well, or just took that paycheck and paid off his house and his car or whatever.
Yeah.
So I know Rob has seen Boondock Saints before. Misty, was this your first viewing of Boondock Saints, or is this something you've been familiar with sometime? Okay.
It's an old favorite.
Jesse?
I'd seen it before.
I never complain about watching it again, though.
Yeah, I believe I saw that on VHS, stumbled on it in the video store, like probably the week it came out, just like looking at covers. I'd go in, like whatever, Tuesday, new release day, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And then 2 hours later, telling everybody I knew, you've got to catch this movie. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely an old favorite of mine, too. So I know that Rob has some notes, but I guess we'll take it right from the top for anybody who hasn't seen it, right?
Yeah. You want to go like story, or
yeah,
you want to approach this? Yeah. So I have to imagine that since this is a 20-year-old movie that was kind of like culty, and the type of people that we know probably saw this, we could probably gloss over some stuff a little bit, make it a little bit more quick and dirty.
Yeah, for sure. We kick off the protagonists of the movie are the McManus brothers, who are very, very, very Irish. Hence, why we're doing this movie on our St. Patrick's Day episode. Of course, it takes place where else? In Boston, the most Irish place in the world, I think. Right? Isn't Boston more Irish than Ireland? Yeah,
more so than Ireland or Chicago. Yeah.
Yep. And essentially, they walk into a situation where they're trying to help out a local bartender whose bar is being closed at the hands of the local Russian mob. And the two brothers become the Saints, right? That's the name that they're given. They basically wind up killing a couple of Russian mobsters, and they decide that they want to continue on with this trend where they put their wits and skills to use at eliminating other evil people from the town of Boston.
Yeah, in a weird, so just going to get into the weirdness. So there's that scene, because, they kill the Russian mobsters and then they turn themselves in because it was self-defense. And then, just like any police investigation, they totally believe them. And so they're just, waiting to leave the prison when there's not, a mob of media there. And they're taking a nap shirtless, like you do in prison when you're just chilling. And it's raining outside, so naturally that's coming in through the ceiling and dripping all over their naked chests while God is telling them to kill people. Am I right about that? That's essentially what happened.
They have an epiphany. They have this vision to get a shared vision that tells them they have a mission, a mission from God, like the Blues Brothers.
Well, yeah, yes, I guess that's very similar.
They're like the celestial Dexters, you know?
Yeah, that's a good way of.
Yeah.
Did you
They're
catch that?
They're going to rid the town of evil, of mobster evil.
And there was that moment
Bad evil.
where
Not
they
the
were getting all rebaptized in weird cop water, where they're sitting on the beds looking at each other, and they give each other these sexy, headshot kind of looks at each other.
I'm so glad that you identified him as sexy.
Does cop water have powers? Is this a thing?
Yeah, cop water. It's known for its powers of justice.
Okay. In defense, I think Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus can only give sexy looks. Dude. So I don't know that was written in to the script. I think that's just the only look they have.
Man.
Norman Reedus,
right, Misty? Right, Misty knows.
100. Smoldering. Their eyes only smolder. There's no other look. Smolder all the time.
Reedus was definitely throwing out some bedroom eyes.
Dude, oh my gosh. When he gets taken out by the Russian mobsters at the beginning and he looks back.
Oh, yeah. It's just 100%.
That was uncanny, by the way, Misty. You doing that. I felt like I was watching this movie on Netflix again. So, there are a couple weird things. So they wear the rosaries, right? The rosaries around their necks. But the first thing they do when they walk in the house is take them off and hang them on a hook by the door.
So they're going out rosaries.
Which for jewelry, I don't think jewelry is probably the last thing you take off. And not the first, but for them, other people put their keys on a key ring or take off their jacket. No, they're walked in the door, gotta put up the rosary. So yeah, there's a little bit of weirdness in that movie. That's
it's holy.
I kind of get it, actually.
Okay,
it made sense to me.
I want to.
You came from a holy place, and you get home. Yeah,
maybe it's like Mr.
You
Rogers.
don't keep the rosary on
the butchery
time.
shop.
The sweater.
They come home from their job at the factory farm plant or whatever they work at, where they're beating each other up with
I think
meat.
they're called slaughterhouses.
Processing plants.
What?
I don't know if that's a holy place or not. I mean, I dig them. That's where most of my meals come from.
Factory farm.
Yeah.
I want to break in with a shout out to Adam.
Oh, you mean the Burger Warehouse? Yeah.
The Burger Warehouse. Shout out to Adam in Oshkosh, whose legs don't work, who made the comment, "Hello, booked leprechauns." Jenny? I don't see a comment from a Jenny.
Yeah.
I thought it popped up on mine. Maybe she commented on it. No, it's on mine. I see it. It's a GIF or a GIF. A GIF? A GIF?
Oh, God. Here we go.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I see it, Jenny.
Well, we're not going to look at all the responses that people give to all of Misty's Facebook posts.
I apologize.
But I'm kidding. All right, so... and then, all right.
So, do you know what I realized? I apologize. We're going to get back to that. It's because it's on my share. It's not on the booked share.
Makes sense.
And do you know what? I now realize several of my friends who said they were going to tune in and comment, they're probably going to comment on mine.
We got to jump on the 21st century here. We just won't be able to acknowledge them, really.
Yeah.
Can I acknowledge them?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be a little weird where you're talking to someone nobody else can see, but you know what? We're used to that. It's okay.
It's kind of the Misty.
Jenny, I see you. Thank you.
Yeah. Misty's imaginary friends are joining us for this episode, which, It's not the first time.
They can make amends, though. Just $1 a month to patreon.com/booked.
Why isn't
Right.
why isn't Jesse the fucking marketing?
Yeah.
It's $1.
When was Jesse put on the payroll? That's what I want to know.
Professional shill tonight with the fucking bar and tender hat.
No, I'm sorry. Let's get back to.
So if you think that those characters are weird from what you've heard, they are nowhere near the weirdest characters in this movie, because we're pretty quickly joined by Willem Dafoe, who plays a FBI agent who's assigned to mob-related crimes. So he shows up because these two Russian mobsters are dead in an alley, and he has this uncanny ability to determine exactly what happened from the evidence. So he's spot on. And of course,
so he's a good detective, basically.
So he's like the Will Graham of Boondock Saints.
Yeah, but even more so. Like, there are things that nobody could discern actually happened, and he has like this magic ability to do it until he does it, which is one of the best scenes. Where towards the end, I don't remember what it was, but the one idiot cop is right. And Defoe's like, there's no way.
One person, 6 guns.
Yes, 1 person, 6 guns, right? And he's
Coffee
like,
boy.
Yep. But of course, he's surrounded by 3 idiot cops throughout the whole movie that he has to explain everything to.
So I want to say one of the things when I first watched this movie is that the scene where he puts on the classical music, he puts the headphones in, and he's got the fucking CD player on his...
The Discman! The
Oh my
freaking belt Discman.
Love that
Why
shit.
wouldn't you?
Belt clip
Why wouldn't you?
Discman.
That's in my wrap up.
That was weird when I first watched it. Oh, I forgot. We're probably going to review this. It was weird when I first watched it, but now I think of how often I'm at work and I just have like my AirPods in and I'm playing like serious like 90s like drum and bass type music just to get through work, and I'm like, yeah, now I get it. I totally get it.
So the thing that maybe didn't occur to me when I saw this back in 99 is that I also saw it in 1994 during The Professional.
Yeah, Gary Oldman's.
Gary Oldman, as he's looking, he also does that where he puts on the classical music and does a bunch of what's that called, where the band leader type, conductor.
Conducting.
Yeah, during that. So I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like an interesting quirk to give an investigator, but I feel like that was maybe borrowed a little bit from Gary Oldman's character, also a quirky weirdo. But he's, if I remember correctly, he actually works for the bad guys in that, right? And he's trying to track Leon down. He's not a government agent.
Oldman's the bad guy.
But he plays a very similar role in that he shows up to these scenes and tries to figure out what happened and tries to find Leon, whatever, the professional.
He takes those drugs too. He's got his little pill case where he like takes them and he cracks the pill in his mouth and breaks it open and just gets all weird.
And then we come to the only other character that matters in this, Rocco, who is the best part of this movie. Hands down, fucking Rocco is the best part. Yeah.
The funny man.
He's this bumbling idiot who's basically like a messenger boy for the mob. But he does have aspirations to be cooler than he is, and he sees linking himself to the McManus brothers and joining in their fight as his ticket to the big time, to being who he was always meant to be.
Wait, was that really their name?
Yeah.
I can't believe I fucking missed that.
Yeah.
I hear McManus and I just think Usual Suspects.
Yes, they are Connor and Murphy McManus.
Yeah.
And Il Duce McManus, if you really want to go into.
Yeah, I totally didn't catch
like Noah or
ever
like
any mention of surnames anytime I've watched the movie. Like,
except for Rocco. Anyway, never mind.
Diana checked in and said, "Aw, guys, we're eating dinner and getting beers. Good job. We miss you guys. Come visit."
We also got a message from Adam. Adam again saying that the St. Patrick's Day special words were covering Misty and Jesse's faces, so I had already moved it.
First of all, adorable faces.
Oh yeah,
adorable faces.
I think he meant Jesse.
Oh wow. Wow.
Oh, clearly no. I mean,
Okay.
come on. Look at her.
Okay,
Like,
that's cool.
So we're good, though.
No, don't worry about it, Jesse. This is not the first time.
I'm gonna cover Missy's adorable face.
Whoa,
Whoa,
this is a family-friendly podcast.
With the-
Rob, Jesus.
With the words,
Jesus.
everybody calm down. So,
I just got there. Thanks,
so
guys.
I know we're all showing up at different times. So, yeah. So basically,
Hey,
like,
pause a sec.
yeah.
We did the drink thing. I want to know what Livius is vaping. I want him to tell us about this juice or whatever they call it.
It's Lucky Charms, isn't it?
Yeah, it is not actually. This is it's by the brand is called The One, and this is cinnamon apple. It tastes a little bit like a baked apple with cinnamon. It's actually really good.
That is precious.
Yeah, and then on the mod that just says,
Drag.
"Yep." I'm not sure if that's a reference to men dressing like women
The vaping machine.
or to vaping. I'm not sure.
It's like you're in my brain because I was having that conversation.
Yep, yeah. That's a fair conversation to have.
I guess the important question is, does the vape pair well with your Monster Energy drink?
Not at all, because Monster
Yeah.
Energy tastes terrible.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
it
it's
does.
a terrible
Yes,
taste.
it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So I do this just to because I didn't want to be all sleepy eyed and stuff on the show. So
Do you
What else
do
do we wanna
coffee
say?
at home?
I've been doing less and less coffee in general.
Okay.
But no, usually not at home. I have the ability to. I just usually don't. I've been kind of not on purpose, but I've been cutting back on coffee. Like not a concerted effort, but sometimes I go days without coffee now. So
Because Monster is fucking terrible, but coffee is glorious.
yeah, Monster. If you have to drink an
Heard it here
energy
first,
drink,
folks.
I truly think Amp is probably the best taste.
Just came in.
Who's just in?
We're now reviewing
Yeah,
caffeine.
we're totally off Boondock Saints. We're talking about coffee and energy drinks now. This is why the episodes are shorter when it's just me and Livius.
Yeah.
These little tangents. That's a joke.
At any rate.
So, basically, after they get like anointed by the cop water, Rocco figures out what's going on. He wants to join them, and he basically says, like, "Look, I'm a Rolodex of bad guys. I know where they are. I know what they do." And then they basically just use that as their playbook for who they're going to go kill. They kill Ron Jeremy in a spank titty bar kind of place, which was like a weird scene because like when so they did this weird. So they did a timeline thing, right? Where even with the first crime, you see the result of the crime before you actually see what takes place, and they're investigating it, and that leads up to them getting, like all that kind of stuff. And so they do this timeline thing where like you see the carnage before you see the actual like encounter, and so that's a little bit weird, but yeah. So there's all this. They're fucking killing everybody, and everything is going pretty well until the Duke shows up. And he gets hired by the mob, by the Italian mob that now, who employs Rocco. He gets hired by the Italian mob to take out the Saints, and they spring him out of that jail, and they put him in a fucking bird cage. Did you like? You remember they roll him out on like a little like skateboard, and they put him under a bird cage. Like, is that how the prison systems work?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Never
You've never been to prison?
I've never been to prison, so...
Oh, interesting, because on your shirt, I do believe there's a guy holding bars. I thought maybe that was the... Yeah.
Cute.
That's as close as I've been.
Well, the funny thing about that is that's what they roll him into his parole hearing, and then he's paroled. So...
Yeah.
So it is a movie that's really consists of like 4 like shootout scenes, 5 maybe. As Rob said, they're told in the order where you see the result, and you see the FBI agent kind of give his theories, and then you see what actually happened, which is a lot of fun. At least the first time around, that kind of discovery works well for this movie. And I know I've seen that, as a matter of fact. I was just watching a CW show earlier today.
Which
where
one?
they started The Flash.
You?
Yeah. Where they started with a scene that's near the end, and then you go 12 hours earlier, and you see how they got to that scene. So Boondock Saints was doing that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Side note, I love that storytelling trick or trope or whatever we want to call it. I don't know if anyone has seen DOA, the old noir movie, but the movie basically starts with a dude walking into a police office and like meeting with a detective and like sitting down and being like, I've been murdered and I'm going to tell you. And then the movie happens.
Huh, interesting. Very interesting.
It's unique. It wasn't bad. I didn't mind it. I guess it kind of made sense. For this
I know
movie.
Rob mentioned it, but I felt like we glossed over the fact that Ron Jeremy has a role in this movie.
Yeah. And that fucking Elvis suit when he goes to the titty bar, that is something special. Yeah. Well,
all
at
I'm
least
going to say
Elvis
is
glasses.
if I ever make a movie, it's definitely probably with the intention of just having Ron Jeremy have a role in the movie. He appeared in a number of movies in that time frame, like in the early '90s, in these little walk-on roles where he was only on screen for a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that he was in it up until he appeared on screen. And Ron Jeremy, for anybody who doesn't know, is hero to men across the world. Oh yeah. Look, I feel like I told this story on the podcast, but many years ago.
Uh-oh.
No. This has nothing to do with me. But I was watching a like an Oprah type show. I don't remember who the lady was. It's not someone who's still like got a show today. But she had on a guy to talk about his. No, because I know Ricky Lake. She had a guy on to talk about his porn addiction. So they have him on, and he's talking about. And his wife's like, he doesn't leave the bedroom for like days on end, and it's just a constant stream of movies on the VHS and blah blah blah. So they get him into talking, and he starts talking about Ron Jeremy, and he starts talking about him about how like he's here's this guy, he's not really attractive, he's overweight and he's really hairy, but he has sex with all these women, and how he like looks up to this guy, and like his wife's sitting right next to him, right? And he's just talking about Ron Jeremy. And then they bring Ron Jeremy out.
I look up to him too.
Yeah. They bring Ron Jeremy out, and this guy has a breakdown. I mean, he looked like those people where they like rebuild your house, and then they like bring you back home and they reveal like tears. God, bro, I love you. And he's hugging on him, and he's like, you're my hero, and this and that. And then the rest of the episode is Ron Jeremy explaining to this guy how he needs to calm the fuck down. Like, you can't watch porn all day. So his own hero is like kind of shooting him down. It was a weird episode. I'm going to find out what talk show that was. While you guys talk about Boondock Saints, I'm going to get you. I'm going to see if I can find a clip.
No, we're on Ron Jeremy. We're staying there for a minute because I want to see if you guys have ever heard of. Has anybody seen? It's a horror movie. It's a very low budget horror movie in which the monster that is killing everybody is Ron Jeremy's penis.
No. Pretty sure you already knew the answer to that.
Yeah, you didn't. This is like a legit thing. You haven't heard of this? All right, I'm gonna take a shot at what I think the name of it is. Take a shot at what the name is.
This sounds familiar.
So,
but I don't know if I've seen it.
It's 2008. The movie is called. Hang on, I'm just gonna show you the poster for the One-Eyed Monster.
No,
gross.
Haven't seen it.
It stars
Rejected.
Amber Benson from the Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Amber Benson.
Fuck yeah.
And
Willow's girlfriend.
The premise is Ron Jeremy's penis is this monster that goes around like fucking everyone to death. That's the movie. That's all I got to say about that. I just remembered that was a thing, so I didn't bring it up.
Just like Jesse saying he doesn't remember if he's seen it, and I get a feeling that that's not the kind of movie you forget seeing.
I saw it. I could spoil the ending for you, but I'm not going to.
I mean, I don't have the.
Does it get cut off?
I don't have the
it's
best
cut
memory.
off the whole time. It's
I've
just the
seen
penis.
like
it's
fuck
just
ton of shit, and I'm forgetting shit all the
like
time.
my worst nightmare.
A disembodied penis.
But relative to that, what he said, and talking about really, really fucking weird films.
I never make eye contact with them to begin with. If it was like disembodied and I had nothing else to look at, fuck.
Well, if you're looking for a scare.
His penis fucks people to death. There is this really, really old black and white trilogy of movies, and I don't remember what it's called. I think it was the Something Weird film label put them out on DVD. And it's just horrible shit all around. I mean, it's fucking misogynistic. It's terrible. But like, the plot is basically this dude has been wronged by his woman, so he goes around killing other women. But it usually involves like sleeping with them in some capacity. And in one victim scenario, he ingests a poison. Like, he takes it in, and it comes out in his sperm and kills her, but leaves him totally, like, unharmed.
Big risk there, buddy. Livius is like, why did I bring up Ron Jeremy? Why did I bring
Okay, I was going to say, we have really...
I will say that although I'm unable to find the talk show, looking at Ron Jeremy on IMDb will make your head explode. Because there are literally thousands of titles. And oh my God, some of these titles, I don't know if there's any kids watching. Like, I don't want to say things that, but God, some of these titles, man, are
Just go look up Ron Jeremy on IMDb is what you're saying?
I will, yeah, that's, oh my God, it just keeps going. It just keeps going.
All right, so I have a serious
See
point.
what you're doing there.
It keeps going. I have a serious point about Boondock Saints that I want to not forget to say. It is that because of the way that they show the chaos. Oh, my phone is Siri's listening on my phone. Anyway, because of the way they show like the carnage and then they show the actual action and all of that and the investigation, they're going between. Willem Dafoe's investigation and like the actual like action as is happening to the McManus brothers. There's a point, and it's the point where they go to the weird assassin's house where they're having the poker game. That's the first point in the movie where when Willem Dafoe's kind of explaining what's happening. The retelling of the story is happening at the same time, and so Dafoe is standing next to them when like they're shooting and stuff like that. And so thematically, I believe like that's the point in the movie where he starts to think, "Oh, these guys are doing something good." Did anybody else? Is everybody on board for that?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, there it is." I'm sure I didn't pay attention in the past, or it's been so long I didn't really think about it. But like, I saw that moment, I was like, "Oh, this is obvious. This is a very obvious shift in the way that the narrative." Is going, and then the way that crimes happen after that is a little bit different as well.
Rocco, who is by far, like I said, every scene he's in that movie is essentially gold. So I want to cover a little bit of that. But there's some throwaway things I don't know how many people realize. So Rocco is set up by his bosses to be killed, right? They're hoping he'll assassinate this guy, but really they're just going to get rid of him. So they send him into a room where there are 9 Russian mobsters, and he has a revolver with 6 bullets. That's all they gave him.
Yep.
So he gets there after the McManus brothers have already killed everybody. So first off, the McManus brothers fucking with him is just fantastic, right? Where they put on their little ski masks, and they jump him, and he thinks he's going to get killed.
Yeah.
But so he decides to exact revenge on some of the people that knew. So he goes off on his own and he kills a few people in a diner. And he comes back to his apartment where the McManus brothers are just kind of chilling and hanging out. And he's completely freaked out. He's like, we've got to go right now. Did you guys watch some of the things that he packed into that bag? He packs an iron, like an actual iron, like some silverware.
Vinyl records.
Some record album. It's just beautiful. Like, he's just grabbing whatever's there and putting it in the bag, which is great. But not as great as the 2 scenes that both center around the fact that he killed that cat. That he accidentally kills his drug addict girlfriend's cat. So there's that scene, which is hilarious. Right?
What's its name?
And then when he tells her that the cat is dead, the interaction between him and the drug addict girlfriend is fucking phenomenal. So that movie, for all its cool factor and everything, of these 2 really slick guys, just like wiping out the mob in Boston, like that's all great. But there's this one character that plays on the fringe of that. Like he's like a real peripheral character, but I mean, some of the stuff that he's involved in is just phenomenal.
Yeah, there's a couple. I did write down some quotes. So I remember one of my favorite things from like original viewing. What's
quotes?
I know. I was not ready for quotes on a movie.
Yeah. An original viewing, like the whole like I can't believe that just fucking happened thing, was one of my favorite parts of the movie. But then also when he's arguing with like the druggy girlfriend about the dead cat, and then like the druggy friend is like, you don't have to be so mean to her, or whatever she says, and he's like, I can't go buy a pack of smokes without running into 9 guys you fucked.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
very nice. I want to cut in and say that my friend Jerry is quoting Willem Dafoe when he says there was a firefight. And that's when it's the El Duce scene, and he's like the most like weirdly operatic moment in the movie, or like I don't know, whatever. But like when he's like he holds his gun in the air and he's shooting it, and like there was a firefight. That was a weird moment, but yeah, a big one. So anyway, we've been talking about Boondock Saints a long time. We should probably get toward the end of it. Anyway, they kill a bunch of people and happily ever after.
That sums it up.
Before we wrap it up, we should probably address that there was a second Boondock Saints.
But we didn't watch it.
Del, but we should address that it happened.
Have any of you watched
No,
it?
before we go to that, I have one final note about the original movie that I want to talk about. So you know how like at the end after the courthouse scene, and it's as the credits are rolling, the news people are interviewing all like the citizens stuff. Very
like,
good.
people on the street.
Yeah, the people on the street shit. Awesome scene. And my favorite part of it all was that last guy before they like fade to black and it's just credits now, is this guy, and he's got a little bit of like a little sass to him. And he's like talking about how good they are and stuff, and he's like, I'm ready to get busy. And like, that's how they ended. I was like, good. Go out on busy, because you're not getting any better than I'm ready to get busy.
I tried to watch Boondock Saints 2 when it came out because I was super, super excited. And I probably made it 3/4 of the way into the movie, which I remember being absolutely terrible. And I never went back.
Yep.
Until Wednesday night.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Where I decided to put it on after I watched Boondock Saints.
No.
Yeah,
And,
you did.
With a more critical eye than the first time, I made it 19 minutes into the movie before I turned it off.
Wow.
I got you beat, buddy, because I watched them back to back all the way through.
All right, so real quickly, because it's not. What did you think of the second one? I mean, if you had to.
No, just no.
Just no.
I think the most disappointing thing about the second Boondock Saints movie is that when I was looking at IMDb, I saw that there's like a prequel TV series.
No.
That's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. But no, it was kind of garbagey. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a shitty premise. Someone frames them for the murder of a priest, and to draw them back into into Boston and all that kind of stuff, and only to kill them. And it's like, if these guys are out of your lives, you don't have to draw them back to kill them. They're just gone. They're gone. So I don't know. It was weird. Yeah. Not good.
No.
Ooh, can I mention about the Boondock Saints movie? How fucking obviously not Boston, the city that they shot everything in, was?
I did not catch that.
It's very not Boston. All right.
Was it filmed in Canada, where all movies are filmed?
I'm going to IMDb now. I think it's either Toronto or Vancouver, but I'll let you know in a minute.
While we're doing that, why don't we go ladies first? Misty, give us a wrap up for Boondock Saints.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Let me get my notes.
Sounds really sincere there. Awesome. So excited.
I actually did write them down.
God damn, I'm so unprepared.
No, it's only because I whenever we got the assignment, I didn't want to forget what I had remembered. So, amazing presentation of characters. I don't know how much you guys paid attention to the beginning when they introduce the Saints, as well as the Willem Dafoe's character. Just the first look you get at each of them is iconic. Like it imprints this thing in your brain and it lasts. Like that's your impression of them. That's what you always remember exactly who the Boondock Saints are. Willem Dafoe, incredible. I don't care what you say about there's another character like him in The Professional, which I did forget. And it might be because I only watched that movie one time and I've seen the Boondock Saints more. So maybe I forgot that. Anyway.
Richard
so
Thomas
I thought
somewhere is like rolling over on his couch.
It's freaking Discman, the opera, all of it. I loved it. And it's stylized in a good way. I don't know how many of you, I think Rob and Jesse probably tried to watch Polar. Did you guys watch that, the Mads movie? Okay.
I haven't gotten to it yet, unfortunately.
The extreme stylized that sometimes happens. Neon Demon also comes to mind, even though that has a place in my heart as well. But the way it's done is still pretty cool. It's like the Layer Cake, Lock, Stock, those movies back in the 90s, Snatch. It's fun, and there's something cool about it. So I have always loved this movie. I did not mind at all watching it again. It's not a 5-star for me because I don't choose it all the time.
Livia's almost took his pimp hat off.
But I will do a 4.5. It's a 4.5.
Leo almost blew the pimp hat off Livia's. Jesse.
Yeah.
Mr. Unprepared.
Mr. Unprepared. First, quick, just, going to give that shout out to Linda, who's now watching. So,
Aww.
Welcome.
Hi, Linda, we love you. Your photos are so beautiful.
They really are.
Are you kidding? The 3D ones? Even the ones with the flowers the other day, or maybe it was a plant. Anyway.
I haven't seen the 3D ones.
The ones of New Orleans, though, most recent trip you guys took, like, holy shit, they're beautiful. Like,
Misty, we're going to give you a segment where you review Facebook photos. We're going to do it later in this episode.
On a different podcast.
Yeah. Yep.
Has there been a Misty's Corner yet?
Nobody wants to go into Misty's Corner.
It's the bottom right.
Oh, shit.
That's bottom harsh. Right corner. For anybody watching. Yeah. Jesse, wrap up Boondock Saints for us.
At any rate, like Livius was saying, Rocco, that's some good stuff there in the movie. And Willem Dafoe, I mean, seriously, doesn't Willem Dafoe just kill whatever he's in? Like, it could be the shittiest movie, but his part in it is phenomenal. Yeah. And so, yeah, I love Willem Dafoe. I think he did great in this movie. And like we've acknowledged, the type of thing or character he's playing has been done before in other things. And I think I just have an interest in that type of character. It's kind of like when Vincent D'Onofrio was actually on Law & Order, where you just... Because, I mean, the whole opera thing, like, seriously, the first thing I thought of is, like, he's got to be on the spectrum. He does this as, like, a focusing tool. He's like got his little idiosyncrasies and whatnot. So I just kind of dig shit like that. But the movie in general, I've just never like been super into. And I can kind of get why people appreciate it. It just doesn't, it just never jived with me like the way other similar films have. So...
I'm trying to point at Livius.
He just fucking deflated like a fucking balloon.
And I don't know where he is in reference
He's right
to
on
where.
top of you.
I mean, after the wrap ups, if we want to like talk about it further, we can get a little more explanation on it. I don't want to fucking like go on that big a tangent right now with my wrap up, but it's never really done it for me the way other similar films have. So. Yeah, I do like 2.5.
Oh, god damn. Livius is gutted.
Wow.
Gutted.
Rob, I'm gonna have you go. I'm gonna have you go next, so I have a minute to collect myself.
I am shocked.
Yeah. All right, so I just want to point out my buddy Jerry posted another quote from Boondock Saints, the Oliver Coke moment. when he's responding to Rocco's joke, which is very good. I love it, Coke. All right, here's my thought about Boondock Saints. Much like Livius, when I discovered it at a Blockbuster, just sitting on a shelf somewhere, and I just took a chance on it, I fucking was obsessed with this movie. It was the greatest fucking movie ever made. I was so excited about this movie. And then I didn't watch it for like, a decade or whatever. Then the second movie came out, which was just as disappointing as the first one wasn't. And then I kind of cooled off on the whole, like, the two movies in general. I kind of like lumped them together into this like moderately disappointing mishmash and just didn't watch them for another decade. And then this episode gave us the opportunity to revisit that, and we could talk about it maybe later, but this wasn't the only movie. We talked about several movies as options, and it was pretty obvious that this was going to be the choice. Going on previous holiday episodes, we kind of realized that having a consensus about what we're doing works a lot better. So all that being said, watching it again, I did not expect to have a good time at all because of how disappointing that second movie was, and I was like, maybe I was just romanticizing, whatever. And at the same time, I was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed watching it, but also didn't think it was a good movie, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if it's nostalgia or what, but like, there was always a place in my heart for this movie. I don't think it's a good movie. I don't think that it's like a particularly original story. Or, like, I don't know. There's something about it that when you look at it from, and maybe it's the perspective now that I've been criticizing stories for 8 years with Livius, maybe I'm seeing it differently. I'm seeing it with a more critical eye. Something makes me realize it's kind of a surface level, not super edgy, out there kind of thing. It's got that style. Like Misty was saying, and that's great. It's got a very cool style to it. You feel cool about it, and you think the characters are cool, but it's not the best story in the world.
It's like John Wick.
No, John Wick is amazing, and I will not hear anything otherwise. And so that puts me at I'm coming in above Jesse, literally on the broadcast, but also in my score, but not too much ahead. So 3 stars.
There's a difference in not heightened or substantial on plot and just not a good story.
I want to be clear. I love John Wick, and what I'm saying is there's really not substantial story in John Wick either.
Oh.
So I feel like as far as...
But it's a good story.
That's
the difference.
Like the density of the story... They're the same. If not, actually, Boondock Saints has more. I don't know. Anyway, and I love both of them. I just want to be clear. I don't want anyone to think that I hate John Wick. I love John Wick.
Fucking dragging John Wick down.
So, anyway.
Why can't people just be excellent to each other?
I'm so worried about the state of you right now.
Rob touches on an interesting point, and it comes up when we're reviewing books. For me, pretty frequently. So there is good versus entertaining. They're two different styles that can both, and you can have a movie that's supposed to be entertaining that's awful. I will not list the number of movies I've tried watching, like comedy movies at people's recommendations, where I sat stone-faced through a movie that was supposed to be entertaining and thinking, like, I don't know why anybody would find this enjoyable.
So many.
Is it like best versus favorite kind of thing?
I don't know. I mean, it's okay. So when you read a book or you watch a movie, they're the ones that are really deep and you have to think about them and you're really excited that there's plot twists or there's something in the plot that you like, right? And then you read a book that's just kind of funny. So Apathy and Other Small Victories always comes up with this. It is not a good story. It's not a great plot. But God damn it, you spend half your time laughing through it, and it's a great book. Boondock Saints, going into this viewing, I actually don't... This is what happened. Rob sent me a list of movies. I literally saw Boondock Saints and I didn't look at what the rest of them were. I was like, let's just do Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't be bothered to read the entire message. It was like 4 movies, I think, and I wound up saying Boondock Saints. I loved this movie when I first saw it. I was really worried that it wasn't going to hold up over time, that it was going to feel really dated. And shockingly, Discman aside, it did not feel terribly dated.
Well, there was a pager too.
No,
there is a
they
pager.
looked as cool now as they did in 1999.
Fuck yeah.
The characters are all very overblown. They're caricatures of real people. Rocco, the Italian mob boss, that Russian guy in the beginning who's not a mob boss, but he's the guy who comes and is trying to shut down the bar.
Ivan, and I have to break into your review to say that if you didn't notice his gun, he has a 50 caliber, like a Desert Eagle or whatever gun, and he's got the fucking Soviet hammer and sickle on the front of the barrel of his gun.
Get out of here.
You want to talk about the most like...
The Desert Eagle, is that Clint Eastwood's gun? Is that Dirty Harry?
No,
that's
like the
350 something. Yeah.
I'll send you a picture. But anyway, if you want to talk about stereotypical, they put the fucking hammer and sickle on the front of the barrel of his gun.
That's awesome.
Sorry.
I didn't notice that.
Sorry to interrupt.
Hey, so Joe Prindle is watching, who's a friend of mine and Rob's. Joe also had a podcast. Rob, do you remember Joe's podcast?
The Fat Name Movie Podcast? Is that what
we're that's right, the Fat Name Movie Podcast. I think that started right at the same time we did and was over about 6 months after we started it. Am I remembering that correctly?
They started actually, they heard about us doing it. This is the history of that. They heard about us doing a podcast. They posted their first episode first, even though we had the idea first.
Yeah, they did beat us to it. Yep, that's correct.
I mean, we've only lasted like 7.5 years more than them, so...
So, anyway, just wanted to acknowledge that Joe, who said that...
it's not that long yet.
That I look really dated. I just wanted to acknowledge he is also a fellow podcaster, at least was at one point. So, I'm going to finish up my wrap-up. This movie is still very, very enjoyable. I think that Misty's right on iconic looks and things, even though they're all kind of caricatures of real people and maybe even caricatures of an action movie. Willem Dafoe, who for many, many years was a joy to watch and everything. I'll tell you, the interesting thing is I always thought that if Johnny Depp and Willem Dafoe were in a movie together, it would be the most amazing movie ever. Now, at the time, I didn't realize they were in one of those war movies from the 80s. They're like Apocalypse Now or something. I think they were both in that together. Anyway,
were they both in Platoon?
I would guess Platoon. Yeah.
Platoon, yeah. So I didn't know they were in Platoon, but I was really excited when I heard they were going to be in Once Upon a Time in Mexico together. And then Willem Dafoe, they paid Willem Dafoe to be in a movie. He had 2 lines, and they were both in Spanish. Let's talk about a disappointing way to finish off. At any rate, Willem Dafoe, classic. When I think Willem Dafoe, this is what I think about his role in Boondock Saints. So I love this movie. I don't know where any of the rest of this nonsense that you guys have heard has come from. So I don't know how many stars I have to give it for it to average 5 stars, but that's what to give it. It's probably like 10.5 or something to get it to 5 stars. So 10.5 stars.
Aww. And Rob, thank you. He sent me a photo of the Desert Eagle. It is not Dirty Harry, but it has been referenced in like over 40 films, like since Desert Eagle? Like they did and that was back in 1994. They did a study or a survey of films, and it had been in over 40 films. So it's in like Snatch. I actually think what I'm remembering is from
totally
Snatch.
Yeah.
So, but I just knew like Desert Eagle. It's an iconic gun.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
And Dirty Harry's gun is a 44 Magnum, so I apologize.
Yeah,
it says replica on the side.
If anybody gets upset about that, I apologize.
Coming from Texas, I'm a little disappointed in you, Miss.
And also coming from, like, I watched Dirty Harry movies with my dad as a child. That's like cardinal sin.
Yeah, don't you have one in your boot right now?
Yeah, Misty's always drunk when she gets out the Desert Eagle. So how's she supposed to remember that?
Thank you.
That's a good point. It takes a lot to get to the Desert Eagle.
Yeah. Well, Boondock Saints done. I'm a little sad at my hosts.
So sad.
Here's
So
the thing.
No.
Regardless of the 3-star rating I gave that movie, if you guys were like, dude, we want to watch Boondock Saints, I would never be like, oh man, Boondock. Like, I'll always be happy to watch it. I just don't know if it's like it doesn't hold the place in its heart that it did like 14 years ago.
I was totally on board. Like,
yeah,
same thing. Like, I knew I didn't really care for it, but it's like, fuck yeah, let's watch that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very fun movie.
Do you think it's a good time for me to get another beer? Because this is...
You should get another beer. While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and have our co-hosts tell us what their personal relationship is to St. Patrick's Day.
Can we pause on that? Because I think I need to do a restroom beverage refresh type
Misty,
thing.
do you need to do anything in the middle of this podcast? Or are you
I'm more than happy to talk about the,
absolutely. You guys go. Misty and I got this.
You guys just vamp a little
We're going to
bit.
talk about how great Boondock Saints was without any interruption from these other people. Jesus.
I mean... I
Misty,
actually am super
Misty,
surprised.
Has everybody seen your dog? Is your dog within, like, kicking distance?
So the reason that my hands keep moving is because she's right here. And she was actually, I sent a text to Rob and Jesse a second ago because she was making she doesn't bark, but when she
did you have her vocal cords taken out? Is that because I know there are people that do that. Did you have that done for that dog?
No, she just,
okay.
I'm very thankful and lucky so far. And of course, she's only 3 months old, so who knows what she's going to grow into. But she does, if she catches her reflection, do a little like, and so she was doing that a second ago, and I didn't know if you guys could hear it. And so I was snapping. Anyway, all of this is super exciting. But yes, she's right here. She's precious.
What breed of dog is that that's licking your mouth?
She is a teacup-sized Maltese. So she's a very tiny poodle Maltese mix.
Interracial dog. Good.
Yep, she was the only black one. Her brother and sister are honey-colored. And, of course, I chose the goth dog.
Of course you did. Rob is back. So I think, one of the things we wanted to talk about was your personal relationship to St. Patrick's Day.
So I'm going to be super lame. I don't really have one. As a matter of fact, so in Dallas, there's a huge parade every year on a street called Greenville, and specifically Lower Greenville for anybody maybe local that's watching. But I never went because it's classically known as it's super crowded, like too many people in a very small space, hard to get drinks, but people are out there for so long that they are sloppy and puking on the streets. Almost like, New Orleans Mardi Gras is probably what it can be equated to.
Almost like Misty's place.
Whoa, shit.
But I don't enjoy the people aspect. And so that always was a detractor for me. I don't want to be surrounded by people and drunk. So I have never gone. I have done, as I mentioned, this hat is from a 5K that I did the morning of the Lower Greenville party, but I did not stay for the party. I do love, some of my family is Irish, and interesting fact, every person I've ever loved has been part Irish and also often redheaded. I don't know what is wrong with me, but it's a thing that I have. So
get it all out before Jesse comes back and has that shit.
I do love the Irish, but for some reason I don't have a particular thing for St. Patrick's Day.
All right, that's fair. Rob, how about you? What's your personal relationship to St. Patrick's Day? Is it do you only like redheaded men? Is that
pretty much? Like, I've only been able to love redheaded men. No, all right. So I've never been the dude. Like, I feel like every white person in America believes that a significant chunk of their heritage is Irish, and they latch onto that. Like, I feel like that's a very common thing.
Yeah.
We're not all 100% Romanian, Livius. Like, some of us are a little bit of a mixture. And so I grew up thinking that I had some Irish blood, but I never did that, like, American Irish, like, we fight and we drink it, like, that kind of thing. I never... I'm
so glad that you did your fists like this, too. Like...
Yeah, like, I live so close to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
With the Fighting Irish. Notre Dame,
yeah.
Which is a French thing, right? But they have the Fighting Irish. I never understood that college. Anyway, I never had that, like, embrace your Irish roots, like thing. And I never cared too much about the holiday of St. Patrick's Day, to be 100% honest. Like, I think that I drink enough on the reg that, you know, like, it's one of those, like, amateur day kind of things where it's like, I lived in Lakeview in Chicago quite a bit, and Wrigleyville in Chicago on St. Patrick's Day is just this drinking, fighting, like, vomit fest of awfulness that is just, like, the lowest common denominator of people just doing the most basic of shit. And so it's always been kind of a turnoff, like the way that people have embraced the holiday of St. Patrick's Day as we gonna get drunk. And so I haven't really cared about it too much, to be honest. Or, you know, and because I feel like it's just one of those appropriation kind of things, like Cinco de Mayo. Like Cinco de Mayo for Americans is we get drunk on Mexican stuff. We drink the Mexican stuff. And I feel like St. Patrick's Day is kind of the same, like, fucking nonsense.
It is.
Jesse, how about you? your relationship to St. Patrick's Day?
Also, I'm gonna do my break. Continue.
Oh, it's Missy. Missy's tapping out.
Is this where you try and get me into Jesse's corner for St. Patrick's Day?
Well, you've got red hair, so we're assuming that, like, there's leprechaun blood in you and stuff like that.
I mean, there is. I don't go along with the holiday. I don't celebrate it. I could be actually wrong, but I believe, isn't it actually a religious holiday? And that's where the Jesse's Corner portion would come in. Like, the snakes he drove out of Ireland were the pagans, you know, and whatnot. So, I mean, I don't really get into the holiday, and growing up and living in America, we all know people just, like, use it as an excuse to be shitty. So
there you go.
Like, everybody's a little bit Irish. It's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever.
Nobody likes St. Patrick's Day is what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know anyone who actually likes this holiday.
I have no relationship to St. Patrick's Day whatsoever. This is the most St. Patrick's Day-like thing I've ever done in my life.
So good.
Yeah. So that's I am as much Irish as Elizabeth Warren is American Indian. So that's my relationship to the Irish.
Wait, did anyone have an actual relationship with that?
Everybody hates St. Patrick's Day, basically.
Oh my god.
Pretty much.
It's a one-time deal.
Yeah. Next time, Romanian Independence Day. That's going to be our...
Dude.
I'm down for that, man.
Yeah.
Actually, that sounds amazing. I'm going to dress up like I did on Halloween.
Very
pale and black.
Yeah. I'm going to get my Dracula cape out. Yeah.
In which we all discover that Romania had to become independent from something. Was it Turkey? Because they fucking just took over everybody.
Yeah, I have no idea. I'd have to look into it.
Oh my god, I don't know either. I'm so glad I didn't say it first.
It was the Turks. Isn't that who Vlad the Impaler
Here's where we're gonna go next. So now that we know everybody's level of knowledge and their relationship to Independence Day, it would not be a holiday episode if we did not have a quiz. So I came across this quiz on
The answer is Caesar.
On the
Brutus.
AARP AARP.org. I don't know if anybody heard
AARP,
that.
like the retired persons?
Yeah. So
Washington dinosaurs.
So, because some of us are getting up there in years, I'm going to put these on so I can read this quiz.
Wait.
Oh my fucking god!
I got glasses recently. I don't know
That
if
is
you knew this,
amazing.
What is happening? Is this like an Elton John concert all of a sudden?
but
I
Misty,
need to picture Oblivious like this.
Misty,
So ready.
I feel like I look like the Riddler in Batman. That's why I don't wear these glasses in public. I only use them at home for reading. So
For prom, we got to coordinate.
this is
Seriously.
and it's a little bit different of a quiz where you actually have to like I don't have the answers. Like I have to click on what the answer is and it'll tell me if we're right or wrong. So we're going to do this one at a time. We'll go around the room. We're going to start with Jesse, who I think has the most hatred for St. Patrick's Day. But I think he might know the answer to this. Who was St. Patrick? Was he a resident of Britain who was captured and enslaved in Ireland and then went on to convert thousands of Irish people to Christianity? Was he an Irish monk who banished snakes from Ireland when they began destroying the potato crops? Was he a British sailor who was captured by Irish pirates and converted them to Christianity before they made him walk the plank? Or was he an Irish monk who saved his countrymen by warning them of a British invasion after receiving a vision from God of a great battle?
Dang it. It's probably D, but go with D.
He was the first option.
A resident of Britain who was captured and enslaved in Ireland and went on to convert thousands of people to Christianity?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
All right. I'm going to select that, although I do believe you said just like 3 minutes ago that he drove all the snakes out of Ireland.
That's a myth. The snakes
was
took a bus.
stand-in for pagans.
That is actually correct. He was the patron saint of the patron saint of Ireland was a resident of Britain born in 387 and enslaved by pirates at age 16. After receiving a vision from God, he spent decades preaching the gospel throughout Ireland and converted thousands to Christianity.
Wow.
What a saint.
Misty.
What a lame-o. I'm ready. I'm going to give a way better answer.
What
All
an
right.
Irishman.
What do historians believe was St. Patrick's name at birth? Was it Trevet Batilde, Alden Beckett, Maywin Succat, or Merwin McGeet?
Ooh, Maywin or Merwin. That's where I'm at. Let's go with Maywin, because it really struck a chord with me.
Maywin Succat
Suck at.
is the correct answer, Miss.
Fuck you, are you serious?
I am dead serious.
Oh my god, I just...
He took the name Patrick. He took the name Patrick when he became a priest. Nice job, Misty.
Can we pause for just a second?
Sure.
I think Misty needs to take a shot of whiskey right now.
Oh, good lord, no. Because I started to get a headache, and so my next drink is actually a Corona.
Okay, yeah. Never
So
mind.
what you're saying is you're getting a headache. You're not going to stop drinking. You're just going to drink something different.
I got you, Jesse.
That's understandable.
I drink something lighter than a vodka.
I'll proxy
Rob.
for Misty.
Rob,
I'll join you.
we have a lot of questions left, guys.
All right, yeah, I can listen and pour
Sorry.
whiskey.
Let me know
Where-
when you're ready, Rob.
Oh, let's do the question first, and then we'll do it.
Okay.
Where and when was the first St. Patty's Day parade in the United States? Was it Boston in 1809, Boston in 1911, New York in 1762, or Providence, Rhode Island in 1898?
Providence.
Thanks,
Give me-
Rob.
give me-
You sound like
Give me the four answers again.
Boston
I'm going to
in
go with
1809,
Providence, y'all.
Boston in
Say it when
1911.
Misty's not talking over you.
It's impossible
All right, well,
to do that, Rob.
do your best.
Boston in 1809, Boston in 1911, New York in 1762, or Providence, Rhode Island in 1898.
What was the second Boston one?
1911.
That one.
We're going to check the answer, and that is incorrect. It was actually in New York. The first parade is thought to have been in 1762 when a
God
gathering
damn
of
it.
Irish soldiers in the British Army paraded down Lower Broadway in New York to celebrate their homeland.
That was my first instinct as well. Damn it.
Rob?
All right. We're going to circle back to Jesse on this one. Why all the green shamrocks? St. Patrick believed three-leaf clovers had the power to heal and used them to cure the sick. St. Patrick used the shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity. The shamrock has come to symbolize St. Patrick's uniting of France, Britain, and Ireland in peace under Catholicism, or none of the above?
Oh, fuck. Can you repeat those, please?
Sure. St. Patrick believed 3-leaf clovers had the power to heal and used them to cure the sick. St. Patrick used the shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity. The shamrock has come to symbolize St. Patrick's uniting of France, Britain, and Ireland in peace under Catholicism, or none of the above?
2, the Holy Trinity.
He converted everybody to Christianity.
Jesse is correct. So it symbolizes the Holy Trinity. Misty, what city has had a huge St. Patrick's Day parade and celebration since 1813? Is it Savannah, Georgia, Cleveland, Ohio, San Francisco, or New Orleans?
None of the above.
That's not actually one of the options.
Okay, give it to me again. Savannah, Georgia, San Francisco. I don't want to say New Orleans. What's the other one?
Cleveland, Ohio.
None of those sound Irish to me. Where's New England in all of this? You know what? Let's go with the underdog. I'd like to go with Ohio, please.
Ohio.
Livius, you were pointing to New England, weren't you?
Yes, I was, because she asked where New England was. No, it is actually the old southern town of Savannah is home to a large Irish-American population and throws one of the biggest annual celebrations in the country. I have to get this prescription checked, because I'm not...
There's been a murder in Savannah.
You owe me,
Rob.
Tube City.
What does Aaron Gobrach mean? Do you need a spelling on that?
No, I've seen seen it. This is multiple choice, right?
Correct.
Thank.
So does it mean celebrate spring? Ireland forever? I am Irish, or bottoms up?
Ooh.
Can I phone a friend on this? Can I get the input?
I mean, you could ask one of these two knuckleheads if you want.
Hey, knuckleheads.
I mean, they've done pretty well with the answers.
Yeah.
Bottoms up.
Oh, you actually get to ask us what we think?
Yeah,
It's clearly not bottoms up, but that's what I want it to be.
Aaron go, bro. It's fucking Ireland forever.
Is that an option?
Okay.
Rob, is that your final answer, Rob?
Of course. Jesse seems like he knows what he's talking. He's got red hair. It all
Jesse's gotten every one of his questions right.
He can start getting my questions right too.
Which means I'm going to get my next question wrong.
Aaron go bra is an English language version of an Irish phrase that's typically translated as Ireland forever. Nice job, Jesse, Rob.
Jesse, Rob. We are the same person.
We're going back to Jesse.
He's just smarter than me.
Which of the following is an actual St. Patrick's Day tradition? Green dye is dumped. Green dye is dumped into the Chicago River in the Windy City.
Yes.
The Statue of Liberty is draped with an Irish flag. Massachusetts designates the day as a state holiday and closes schools, or none of the above.
1.
A.
Right.
A. 1. A.
1A.
Yeah, the formula, so they do it using a mysterious powder. The formula is top secret according to the Chicago Tribune, but officials say it's environmentally friendly.
It's a vegetable
Because
dye.
it's everything. That's what people always say about things they dump in a river, isn't it?
Right? That's some assurance, oh, okay, you say it's good, so.
This next one's for Misty, but I know Rob talked about this a little bit. How many Americans claim to have some Irish ancestry?
99.9%.
33.1 million. Well, if you're going to use that, you're going to have to do some math. 48.8 million, 57.2 million, or 71.1 million, or all of them.
All of them.
70.
All of
Give me
this
the 70. 70.
71.1 million is wildly incorrect. More than 33 million people, according to the 2014 U.S. Census, a number far greater than the population of Ireland, which is 4.6 million.
Everybody, well.
Wildly incorrect, he
Wildly
said.
incorrect.
Well, I mean, 30 million of 70.
Here's the thing. I don't know how many millions of people live here, and I didn't want to logically consider it.
So
And
approximately
the highest number.
Approximately 300 million people live in the United States. 99%, which was your original answer of 300 million, is like 297 million. But the correct answer is 33 million.
Anytime that we start talking about math is when you guys make me seem a lot dumber than I am.
We also have...
What?
I mean, if you're dumb about math, it just means you're dumb about math. It doesn't mean you're dumb.
No, not at all. Some of that could be gender related too.
Why is he the way he is?
We wouldn't love him otherwise. So I'm going to break in for a moment, talk about some comments. Joe Prindle has said 54 things that nobody cares about. My brother has chimed in to say, because Chi-Town would never lie, ... He's talking about the dye in the river. I think he's implying that Chicago was not above lying about safe dye for the river, which that's my bro. And then Diana came on and said, Misty.
Oh, hold on. I got to pause for a second.
But, all right. Misty, love your glasses is what Diana is saying. So Diana loves your glasses. Jesse's stepping away for a minute. Joe Prindle's back. He's talking about 90 other things that people don't care about. But he's got this adorable picture of him in like a button-down shirt holding his child. So you gotta love him for that, right? Like,
yeah.
I bet you he's a great father.
Oh, that's precious.
Are we mid-quiz, Livius? How many? Livius is muted.
You're muted, dude.
We are on number 9 of 10.
So just give it to one of us.
This is going to be a group question.
This next one is for Rob.
Damn it.
What historic site has been lit up in green on St. Paddy's Day in recent years?
The White House.
Is it the Roman Colosseum, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Sydney Opera House, or all of the above?
Ooh, I want to say either Sydney Opera House or all of the above. What do you think, Misty? Wait, what are the other two? The Leaning Tower of Pisa and what'd you say, the Roman Opera House?
Colosseum. The Roman Colosseum.
I bet it's only Sydney. I can't imagine. Are there Irish people in those other places?
Wait, do I create credit if it's the Sydney? If I say Sydney and it's still all above because I was kind of right?
I haven't clicked on it, but I'm fairly certain.
I give you all
Sydney
credit.
Opera House is right.
Yeah, I'm leaning Sydney Opera House.
Because they come from me.
And the reason I say that is I have seen the Sydney Opera House lit up for different things. Yeah. I don't think they do that for the Roman Colosseum.
Wouldn't. Yeah, that's the one that's and
it is all of the above.
Shit.
Including the Sphinx in Egypt and South Africa's Table Mountain as well.
No way.
Everybody's just getting in on this shit.
I'm very confused by that. Okay.
All right. I'm going to take this last one because I haven't really done one, and it's really Jesse's turn. So how many pints of Guinness are consumed on St. Patrick's Day worldwide?
Ooh.
Is it 5 million, 1.2 million, 13 million, or 32.5 million? I am going to assume that it is 13 million. And that's going to be my final answer. And that is correct. 13 million pints are chugged on the holiday compared with 5.5 million on an average day.
Livius is good at math.
That's weird. So there's only like 2.5 times more consumed on St. Pat. You'd think that number
just
would
Guinness.
be a little more.
Most people realize Guinness is bullshit. So
I think most people, at least here, they don't drink Guinness. They drink whatever the green beer is that's being served because it's a lighter beer. I don't think a lot of people can actually drink Guinness. It's so dark.
Yeah, that green dye beer. Missy makes an excellent point. The green dye beer is what probably most people...
Non-math related, thank you.
Which usually ends up being whatever is the cheapest for the bar lager or pilsner type ale that they can fucking dye green without changing the flavor.
And they just sell it over and over again. Missy, math dumb, life smart. There it is.
Thank you.
The Guinness too.
That's all I
Guinness
needed.
is actually very low alcohol, and people just assume it's high because it's darker. I don't know why. I feel like a lot of people assume that darker beers are high alcohol.
100.
Well, it's just so like. Here's the thing: even if Guinness, like, regardless of the alcohol content, it's so thick. It's so thick, Livius. It's so thick.
Still thick.
Good call.
Does Guinness have braces?
Guinness might have some braces. But I don't think people could drink more than like one or two before they're like, I feel like I just ate a really hearty meal. So
100.
you drink those fucking lagers and stuff, and it just goes right through you. Guinness is like you climbed a mountain. So I feel like that might be why. All right. Are we done with our quiz? How do we do?
Yeah, we got 5 out of 10 right. We managed a whopping 50%
I feel like we did better than that.
Not bad.
I'm sorry. It was 6 out of 10. 60%.
60. Not bad.
What is that, like a C?
I mean, for people who don't
if you're grading
care,
on a curve, yeah.
For people who don't care about St. Patrick's Day, that's kind of impressive.
Let's grade on a real curve and call that a day.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's just get some curves on
Let's call it No Child Left Behind. Okay. Okay.
Wow. Unexpected commentary on the American education system from Misty. Love it.
All right. Now that I won't have to read anything else, I can take off my glasses, put them back in their little case.
They're hurting my ears.
Put those readers down.
Yep. So there you go.
Oh, Diane. All right. So breaking news: Misty's mom says, "I dropped in for the quiz. Enjoyed your conversation. It's late for mom. Good night." Showstopper. Misty's mom joined the broadcast. Hopefully, we didn't, really offend her in any way.
So,
Diane.
New additional news. She actually watched the entire Christmas episode.
Oh, fuck.
I was unaware, and I had to apologize afterwards for all the things I said. And she said, "Oh no, I was ready for that, like all my cursing and." Etc.
I want to apologize for all the things that I've said about her kid. So my apologies.
No, she thought it was one. She absolutely loved it.
So next time I come down to Texas, I got to bring her roses.
Yeah.
And, all this other shit.
Dude, she doesn't have a fucking gun in her boot like her dad does.
No, but
I'd be more worried about.
I have a carry and conceal license, so let's be real. But we have nails tomorrow, so I'll make sure. She's good with it.
She knows how much we love her.
She does.
So,
all right, Rob. Where are we at?
Terrible.
What are we doing next?
All right, let's talk a little bit about this. We're going to degenerate into like some general conversation. So one of the things that I feel like is different about St. Patrick's Day as opposed to other holidays is that music might be more involved, like Irish music. Does anybody
like Riverdance?
Well, I hadn't thought of Riverdance. But I feel like Irish music is a little bit distinct. So does anybody has anybody thought of any? And I can get this started because I have something in mind.
Or is that Scottish?
So
wait, which one?
Bagpipes. Here,
is that Scottish?
I'm going to kick off.
Riverdance is Irish. Bagpipes are predominantly Scottish.
Oh,
I apologize.
Shit.
I apologize, and it's because someone made me watch Outlander, and so let's move on.
Whoa,
right.
whoa, hold on. You don't like Outlander?
Oh shit! Here we go.
Not at all. I can't make it through the first season. I'm out.
Let's take this conversation offline. We'll have to put a pin in this and discuss it later.
All right, so Irish music. The first thing that comes to mind is like when I was in my mid to late high school years, there was this band that kind of burst on the scene, and I'm not super proud to have been a big fan of them at the time. Like now, looking back at it, I'm like, they were kind of gimmicky, whatever. But they were this rock band called Black 47. Has anybody heard of this band?
No.
It's not what I was expecting. Okay.
No, it is not. I'm very confused.
So they were like a rock band from Ireland that came to New York.
How are you not talking about the Cranberries? But let's
no. Well, that's why I'm starting this.
We'll get there.
You're gonna circle around to the Cranberries at some point. Black 47. There's like a bunch of Irish dudes moved to New York, started up a rock band in America, singing about like way Irish shit. And I'm trying to think. Back in the day, they had a couple of songs that made it to the radio, and I think their hit was called This is gonna. I'm expecting laughs on this one. It was called Funky K Lee, and I think that's like a type of instrument or something.
Funky Comedina, I know about.
That's Tone Loc.
Whatever you just said, I don't know.
Tone Loc, way awesomer than Black 47.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Way rapier, yeah.
Oh, is he rapey? Oh, man. I can't
rapier
like the wild
not
thing.
A qualifier.
Oh, wait, because Funky Cold Medina, that's a good call. Funky Cold Medina kind of
I'm just coming into the fucking, like, this episode.
Oh, Jesse accidentally muted himself, I think. Jesse's a mess. He doesn't even realize it.
Jesse, you're muted. There you go.
Yeah. So we're gonna disregard whatever you didn't say. I'm gonna continue my Black 47 thing. So anyway, they were just like a rock band, and they had like a bunch of like super Irish shit. But like, and this is 100% real. Going out of high school, moving into like post high school, being a fan of that band and how they sang about like all the crazy shit that happened in Ireland and history, and like how they were oppressed by England and all that kind of shit, inspired me to read a book about the Irish potato famine in 1847.
That's actually cool.
And
okay.
And it's like a very interesting kind of part of history that I would not have read about otherwise. So that was a band, and I saw their concerts a couple of times and everything, and just like rock band singing about drinking and being Irish. So that's my contribution to the Irish music part of our discussion. Black 47.
Nice. I gotta write that down. I kind of want to check that shit out.
When you said Irish music, this is the only thing that came to mind.
Zombies.
Are you guys familiar with Flogging Molly?
I've heard of Flogging Molly.
Yes, and I can elaborate on that now.
So this song was on the soundtrack, I think, for Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, which is when I was introduced to Flogging Molly. But listen to this guy.
That was my initial thought, too.
In Minneapolis. I can't remember what it's called now. It's just a total fucking dive bar, but it used to be called Tubby's. They would host punk rock karaoke. And so I went there, and I did this Gang of Four song, and because I was the first person to ever do a Gang of Four song at punk rock karaoke, I won a Flogging Molly CD.
Aww.
Oh, that's great.
They spared no expense with the prizes at that karaoke bar.
No, right? I mean,
you walked out of that place a fucking king.
Like, it was a fucking free promo. I know that, but whatever.
So that's Livius is Flogging Molly, is the one Flogging Molly song I'm getting out of this, right? Misty.
That's yes.
I mean,
that's correct.
Because I classically just interrupt everyone. It's the Cranberries for me. Zombie and like it, you know, the IRA and everything. So that was my Irish band, and they were very angry about very legitimate things. And
yeah.
If you guys remember, remind me to tell you the Linger story. They had that Linger song. Right?
I'm also having a very hard time not singing right now.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that's all.
Oh no! Please don't let us stop you. Wait until one of us is talking to do it. That would be the best. That would be the best thing.
God damn.
I have problems.
Let's let her sing.
She's enthusiastic.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you.
Jesse, what do you have for Irish music, my friend?
There's... Oh, fuck. I was going to say the Vaselines, but they might actually be Scottish. And Teenage Fan Club. Cranberries, obviously. I'm just going to fucking say it. U2, like, I liked some of their shit. They did some really fucking awesome shit throughout their career as we've seen it so far. Some of their earlier stuff is really, 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 really fucking awesome. And maybe I'm being a dick, not giving the edge more credit for his guitar playing. I do think he's a great, accomplished guitar player, but I honestly feel like that when Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois produced those like 2 or 3 records for them, that they really fucking shaped that band.
There you go. I was expecting U2 to be mentioned at one point. There's a band that no one's mentioned so far that I'm a little surprised by.
Teenage Fan Club?
No, didn't you mention them?
Yeah. And also, I've never been a fan of U2. I'm one of those people. So
I've gone to U2 concerts for girls, like, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of
the
thing.
only reason. It's the only reason.
That's the only reason.
No, I do. There are some of their songs I appreciate. Like, I don't hate them. I don't want to say that. It's just I've never really just wanted to own and listen to their music on a regular basis.
Yeah,
but anyway, what's the band?
Dropkick Murphys? Like,
I wanted one of those CDs too.
aren't they the Irishest fucking band? What about Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch? Weren't they like Irish Boston shit?
He's just from Boston.
They're from they're not Irish. They're from
Not
Boston.
Irish?
I mean, he's Boston Irish probably, but he's not
That's
like
exactly
Irish
what
Irish.
I just said. Well, I'm sorry. I said Irish Boston, not Boston Irish.
Yeah, no, I just want.
I mean, if you have to be from Ireland, he doesn't count for it.
All right,
Thank
well,
you, Jesse.
I'm just saying.
Thank you.
I'm just saying. No one said
Yeah,
Dropkick
he's not.
Murphys. And
I think we were trying to think of like actual Ireland bands,
Ireland
and
bands.
I don't consider Marky Mark from Ireland.
What about Dropkick Murphys, though? That seems like all they do is act all Irish and shit.
I'm
Yeah,
not
Rob, for sure. For sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
The Dropkick
All right.
Murphys, yep.
Moving on. I think we got music covered.
We do have music covered. I think it's probably time to just do a little run around and see what anybody else has got before we wrap this up. We're already at an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
So, Jesse, we'll start with you. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up this holiday episode of Booked?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Miss Bennett, how about you?
I don't have anything special to say, but I appreciate you guys having us on as usual for the holiday video episodes. Thank you so much, and for putting up with my shenanigans. It's been fun as always.
Well, we appreciate you appreciating our charity and having you on. So, that's right.
Holy shit.
Rob,
Wow.
anything from you, buddy?
I think that the whole idea of doing a Valentine's Day. Wow, I'm going back in time like 2 years or whatever. St. Patrick's Day. That was me thinking about how lonely I was on Valentine's Day.
That's not 2 years. That's just like a month and a half or 2 months or whatever.
Same thing. For me, it feels like an eternity. St. Patrick's Day, the idea of doing this wasn't that we had any kind of like necessary connection to the holiday as much as it was like there was something to talk about. And so it's funny that like, like the four of us really don't give much fucks about. But it's also funny that Livius and Misty also own hats specific to the holiday. That says something.
And glasses.
Sorry, and glasses as well. My apologies.
That means a lot.
So,
Dude,
I think
amazing.
the idea of this was what's going on with this fucking holiday, and I think we nailed it. Boondock Saints, very Irish, and it was a good conversation. I also like drinking, so I felt like it was just a great marriage of all those things. Will we do St. Patrick's Day next year? Definitely not.
No.
Definitely not. But happy St. Pat. Cheers. How do you say the Irish?
Aaron Gobra?
No. The cheer. How do they say cheers? It's that S word. It's one word.
Oh, I thought they
like
just
slang.
yelled.
Slanja or whatever, like the weird. Anyway.
Slang.
Yeah. That cheers word. And I'm done. I'm out. Drop the mic.
All right, as Rob mentioned, it's probably the only... Hey, Frank Edler's watching. You got here a little late, buddy. We're wrapping it up, but we
Wait.
love you.
Mr. Frank?
Mr. Frank.
Mr. Frank, what up?
So, yeah, no more St. Patrick's Day episodes. But we do have our next episode topic, even if we don't have a date. So the next booked holiday will be sometime in June, and it will be the booked prom. So
is prom early in June?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's usually May,
it depends
probably,
on,
but
it depends on if you went to high school in Chicago or not, but ours was in June. So
okay, yeah, June.
Yeah,
cool.
May's a little tough because we've got some outside obligations in the month of May, so I think we might have to kick that one to June. But
the booked prom happens in June.
So we found out that only a moderate percentage of us attended a prom. So we've got some stuff we're going to get together for that. That one should be fun. And of course, prom means drinking. So I will probably actually have an alcoholic beverage like I did at my own prom. And we'll have lots of stories. And I'm sure some really shitty movie to talk about. So that's going to be our next holiday episode. If you're listening to this on audio, come back next week for our review of Inspection by Josh Mallerman. And until then, I'm Olivia Snedden.
I'm Rob Olson. Keep reading.